Ooh, put your loving arms around me. What's up, everybody? It's your man Rico, the Opinionist. I'm here to let's get it started. I'm going to hear your thoughts on the three men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery being found guilty today. I'd like to know what you think. I'm going to put the link in here, and please feel free to get at me. I'm going to hear your thoughts. Hold on a second. I'm going to put the link in the description box. So if you're on, I'm going to put the link in the description box. I have to type it in because the way this works on StreamYard, I cannot. Let's see. The way this works so you can see me. Let's fold here. Let me see this straight. And come on in. What are your comments? What are your thoughts? I like to hear it. And I'm going to put the link in here. And let's see, comments. Let's see what can I do. Let's see your comments. It's want y'all let me know if it works. Let's see H. I'm just putting the comment. I'm putting the link in so y'all can. Those of you who want to share your thoughts with me, you come on in. So give me a second here. I hope it works. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. There's three. Hold on, three BRF 968 96 9. And so I put the link in the chat. Let me know if the link works. Federal trial scheduled for February 22. Mary Max, what's up? Could you check on that link and see if that StreamYard works for me? You don't have to stay on. I just want to see if it'll click on for you. But thank you for being one of my first persons to come on and my nominated tester. If not, I'll do it again. See if it works. Click on it for me and see if it'll let you in. Does it work? Nope. Damn it. Hold on. Let me see. Over the B. Oh shit. Oh wait a minute. B3. B3 BR. B3 BR. Hold on. I'm doing something wrong here. I'll have it up in a second, y'all. It says B3BR. B3BR. Yeah. 6, 8, 9, 8. See if that one works. Mary Max, see if that one works. I'm gonna keep doing it. Let's see if it works. If that one, I'll let you in. And if so, I'm gonna pin it. Now let's see. Let me try it again. Hold on, y'all. I hate this. I have to do better. Hey, Abrika, honey. I'm just trying to see if this and thank you for the support for the book too, Abrika. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to see if this StreamYard will work. StreamYard. StreamYard.com. Hey y'all, what's going on? Just come on in. Give me a second. B, 3, D, R, 3D. Does that work? Hey, Tony Davidson, I'm trying to get this. This link works? Okay, cool. I'm gonna put another one in there just in case. I'm gonna put 2 in there, so keep clicking on them, y'all, until. Let's see. VR3R 96 A 9. Oh, okay. I just put another one in there. See if that one works. Then I'm should pin this. I'm gonna pin that one. See if the other one I put in there, Mary Mac. See if that works. There are at least 2 options in here. This is StreamYard.com. I'm gonna pin 2. So I pinned. I guess there are at least 3 links in there. Ajan, what's that? Ajan Lewis. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? How you been? Long time. How's John Lewis? Whoa. I hope that's the girl, the female. I call somebody a man sweetheart. My bad. So anyway, let me do my my little shtick on it really quick. Thank y'all for showing up, and thank for hanging out as I. Okay, Mary Max, which one was that? Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna bring you in, then you can leave.
The third one.
The third one with the HTTPS.
I don't know. It's the third one you put in there. The second one worked as well.
Okay, so I have three. Okay, cool. All right, so go ahead. So let me do my opening monologue, and then I'll have y'all to come back. All right. Well, let me say this, y'all. First of all, thank y'all so much for coming. Please participate in the description box. I was just scrolling through Facebook, and next thing I know, the verdict came in. I stopped what I was doing. I read it, and my heart wasn't really pounding, but I was, it was anticipation. And as they read guilty on all of them, except for I think the one who was the driver and the father got for malicious murder, they got a not guilty, and then I think the driver, the guy who with the camera following, I think he got not guilty on a couple of them, but the other 4 he was found guilty for felonious murder and all of this, which I think is great. And the first thing that came to mind is when I saw the verdict, I had to go back to the very beginning. I said a few things about it, but it's something particular about this case and the George Floyd case that, if y'all noticed, I really didn't give too much commentary on it as these things went by. Now, after the fact, when I saw, during the trial and all that, I said some things as it relates to the George Floyd, and I do feel a certain way about the George Floyd. I mean, in a very serious way. Because I these 2 particular ones, just like all of them, because I said something about the Eric Garner and the other ones who, when we're forced to watch these people be murdered, that does something to me. And I guess we're not forced, we stood there, we watched it, but they treat us in a sick ass way to murdering of unarmed of Black men. And I've had some conversations and debates about both the George Floyd and the Ahmaud Arbery. And I realized that I get that same feeling when I'm talking about these 2 men. I'm going to compare it to, I know some of you may think this is small, but when Michael Jackson passed away or was murdered, I was really sad. And for that whole week, I did not want to hear anything silly or stupid or controversial about Michael Jackson. And I meant it. And luckily, I wasn't around anybody who thought it was funny to make Bubbles jokes or bring up the accusations of being a child molester and all that. That week, I was, and so I feel the same way about George Floyd. I don't have any patience for anybody to dare say anything stupid about the George Floyd. Now, you can have your opinions about people putting up statues of him. I don't think that's appropriate and necessary. But what I'm not going to listen to at all, and with much anger and with much fervor, I'm not going to listen to you bring up the fact, well, he was a drug addict and everything he did led up to his death. And this is, he was in the store, bullying people. He tried to pass a fake $20 bill. When it came out in the wash, it wasn't a fake $20 bill. And as he was being murdered, I don't care what he did as it relates to him being a drug addict. And I guess that hit home for me because I've worked with drug addicts and folks with mental illness for the past 23, 24 years, up until the pandemic of last year. I worked as an alcohol and drug counselor. So I have a particular sensitivity to that population because I understand how drugs can take over one's life. Well, he held up a pregnant lady and they want to bring up everything. But you won't ever convince me that a man with a knee to his neck and one cop with his knee on his neck and two others holding his legs down behind the scenes as he screamed for help, and people stood by like cowards and watched him die like a dog, and he pissed and crapped on himself. And y'all think that was okay because he's a drug addict? And because he held a knife to a pregnant woman's belly and he was robbing her. I get it. It was horrific. But y'all seem to leave out the fact that he went to jail and served time for that. He was under the influence of drugs. And that's not excusing the behavior, but it still doesn't warrant a public crucifixion. Do y'all understand? So that right there, we can't have a conversation. Because I'm not going to let you diminish that episode because you have a problem with homeless or drug addicts or black men. You want to try to be so logical and so upright and so conservative that you don't see that human being also had children. You don't want to see that because he was not famous. He was a drug addict and he was high that day. But it's interesting. He took 3 cops. They could have taken him to jail that day. But instead, they chose to first beat him in the back seat of the car. And then some jackass said, well, he told them to lay him on the ground. I don't give a goddamn if he told them to lay him on the ground. So what? And still, he didn't deserve that. So with the Ahmaud Arbery case, I didn't say much because I understood that I had a serious problem with that happening. I don't give a goddamn if he was walking through your street at night. He ain't got to stop because some crackers or anybody told him to stop. You're not the police. You're not even the security of the neighborhood. What you're supposed to do is call the police. The same thing with Trayvon Martin. He didn't have to stop for that honky, for that Hispanic Jew. He didn't have to stop for him. And I don't know why some of us in the black community. See, I expect white people to behave a certain way. But Trayvon didn't have to stop for that bastard. And Ahmaud Arbery didn't have to stop for those crackers at all. He didn't have to do anything. And then in the trial, it came out that the owner, they showed videos that it was plenty of people walking in an empty house. All of us have walked through a house that was being built that looked nice. And you walked in there and looked around and said, man, this is going to be huge. Man, and walked in. and walked right out. You didn't take a nail, you didn't take a piece of plywood, you didn't take anything. All you took was your admiration for what you were looking at. And so I don't I don't understand how we become so short-sighted, and we lack this the human aspect of how people behave when it comes to black people, specifically for black men. That bothers me a lot. And so these two cases really, I have no tolerance for your conversation about that. I mean, you can say what you want to say, but trust me, I'm not going to be a happy camper having that conversation with you. It's if I choose to. And Ahmaud Arbery, and it's interesting. See, I watched what everybody else watched. All the videos they tried to show to try to propagandize his life, propagandize his existence in an effort to marginalize him. Y'all know what marginalizing means? And when you marginalize someone, it means you extract them from the group or the herd and put them off to themselves and throw tomatoes at them and rocks and bombs and all this stuff. So if anything happens to them, no, y'all bet, well, he should have been talking to you. Well, he should have made those people mad. Well, this cognitive dissonance that we display towards people in our own community is kind of, it's weird. It's almost plantation-esque. You looked at a word up, cognitive dissonance. Thank you, Dr. Joy Leary. We have to understand our own prejudices and our own biases when it comes to our own people. And scholars taught us in the 90s, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, if we read their books, they taught us the behavior of looking at each other through the plantation owners' lenses, through the lenses of the white supremacists. And we do that all the time, especially when it comes to black boys and black men. It is almost as if black men are not allowed to have mental health issues. As proven by whenever police officers pull up with a black man with a butter knife, they don't seem to know how to talk him down. But let a white man, a white woman, a white teenager, they can be drunk and they still somehow know how to arrest them. And then, but we feel that we have to teach black boys, give them the talk, instead of just doing the work and changing the laws and holding these racist race soldiers fucking accountable for them not following the law. But wait a minute, they could be following the law, or how they treat black folks, and particularly black males. They could be following the law. Let's go back to patty rollers during the turn of the century, but just as slavery is supposed to be ended. Even just before, the patty rollers were the ones who sought out and chased after possible runaways from the plantation. They had to have their freedom papers on them in order for them to move about the South. See, history is a great teacher, but we seem to have a problem with respecting history when it comes to the relationships of whites, the relationship between the white system and black people. And as it continues to move on through the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s, and 80s, the police has never really been a friend to black people, especially black boys. We don't seem to understand, and black men, he must have done something. Well, go back and look at those civil rights movies, when those old reels and that footage of when black men were just walking down the street and the cop would get out and get the butt of the gun and hit him in the face with it and grab him and throw him on the ground just because they could. And we've gotten so many degrees and been able to move next to white folks with, those Negroes are misbehaving. Well, they would just comply and follow the law. We are just like Caucasians do. When do they ever follow the goddamn law? See, if you are an American, black people, we should behave as such. If you believe that Constitution accurately represents black people as American, why don't we behave as such? Because the Constitution that I've come to understand, and I've parts that I've read, it never mentions black people as being 100% American. 3/5 humans does not make you a whole person, which certainly does not make you a full American. Having your voting rights voted on every 25 years, that's not an American. That's a visitor. That's somebody here on a work visa. But yet, when immigrants come over, the question of voting and all of that, there's no question of that because they get full American citizenship, citizen rights. They get white people rights. Y'all not paying attention. How come these black attorneys that graduate from all these big Ivy League law schools and even historically black law colleges, law schools don't teach each other that? You're not. And there are a lot of laws that's on the books that they still enact on the society today, but mainly when it comes to attacking blacks. They have laws from the 1700s, 1600s. Well, let's say the 1800s, the early 1900s. Let's go 18 and 1900s. They had those laws are still on the books. And they still use them. Every time a black kid gets into some type of legal trouble, these states use some old laws that you wouldn't even think that they're still active. They're still there. Therefore, they're still active. And so Caucasians still act on that old privilege. They can do whatever they want. This was the case in the Ahmaud Arbery case. We all white and you supposed to stop because we said so, nigga. And you got some black folks who thought that was appropriate. Well, he shouldn't have been walking in their neighborhood. You can jog anywhere you want to, supposedly as an American. But if you believe that you're an American, act like it. If you believe that America is a racist country, act like it. Because I don't care how much interracial dating you do, how many mixed breed babies you want to have, and all this, we still black folks in this country. I know some of you are so multicultural, are so diverse that I'm still, damn, Rico's still on that black stuff. Yeah, that's all. Every time there's trouble in the black community from the dominant culture, it always boils down to us being black. So keep on trying these weird ass strategies to ignore racism, white supremacy, or soften the blow, or as the scholars would say back in the day, make it more comfortable make it more comfortable under white supremacy. That's all we do. We're just trying to find ways to be more comfortable behind enemy lines. And so we say, well, if you don't like it, leave. You don't have to leave. Just act like you know where you are. It doesn't mean bow down and kowtow. It means protect your goddamn self. That's all. It doesn't mean say yes to mouth and stuff that we're doing voluntarily on these jobs. And then we get around each other, act like a bunch of wombats and savages. No, there's a lot of, we can survive successfully, economically, spiritually, mentally in this country, if we understood that we are black. You understand? You can marry and date whoever you want to that's not black. Their privilege does not transmit to you. It's them that's white. It's her that's Asian. It's him that's Mexican. You understand? Not you. You can have a mixed kid. If they're light enough like Mariah Carey, they have a privilege that your black behind will not ever be able to experience. And so I mention it because there were a lot of enslaved African women who would volunteer or wouldn't be so upset about having to give birth to the white plantation owner's child, because in their mind, at least my child will be able to walk across this land with a little less harassment as me or his or her actual black brother and sister. See, history is a great teacher, but we don't want to because history contradicts the foolishness that we're involved in today. It contradicts multiculturalism. It contradicts diversity. What our history teaches us is our power is in our unity. Our power is in our blackness. Our power is in our African culture. But we won't go there. That's why we don't like to read Carter G. Woodson's book anymore. Dr. Claude Anderson's Black Labor, White Wealth. Dr. Joy Leary's Black Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, or Franz Fanon's, or Dr. John Henry Clark, or Dr. Ben Yakahanan. You know, we don't. We'd rather try to get a good job and hopefully the police won't stop it. No, we're not. It's not. It's gotten a fingernail since better. But once you get out of line by actually trying to express your freedom, come up with something else. But I want to say this, because I want y'all to call in. Hit the link if y'all want to. I want to hear your thoughts on the guilty verdict. You know, and I'll keep preaching this, you know, to our folks. I know folks get offended when I talk like this, and ask me how many fucks I give. It doesn't make any sense for us to still be so behind after being in this country 400 years, or at least being free for the past 146 years, allegedly free. Why aren't we concentrating on what we're supposed to be doing in order to make even at least our neighborhood safe for us? Because the country is set up where if you got your own, it'll be okay. But then you have people like, well, we try to build it. All they're going to do is come around and tear it down. Well, prove them wrong or prove us right. Build it, and let's see if they'll come. Create the system where your children can survive without the racial harassment that they're currently going through in school. These white teachers suspending your black boys and harassing them. The only time black boys and young black men are worthy of being around as if they're being somebody's sexual object, clown, or athlete, or entertainment. You understand that? Why black women get to be all over the place doing all kinds of things. And they know why. Not because black women are powerful, because they're not. Not on a white male-dominated system. They're not powerful. But they've been funded to give the appearance of being more powerful than black men. Will make us a powerhouse group as if we unify. Genetically unified, economically unified, racially unified. That is what will make us a powerful and respected group. We cannot be powerful and respected as a group if we're all over the place trying to join everybody else's stuff. Everybody else don't need us except for numbers. They don't come to help us out when stuff is popping off. You can have, and then you have what's called, like it's always been, those good-hearted Caucasians or Caucasians with a conscience. But even with that, you have to kind of be mindful. Because even your good-hearted Caucasian will turn white on your ass when you start talking about reparations. But I know it's, and it's funny when I see interracial relationships, black men, white women, or others, or black women with white men and others. How come the subject of race never comes up with them? But then they get around black people and talk about, ooh, these folks prejudice and all this. But Don Lemon, you go home with a white man all the time. Most of these celebrities that y'all think are fighting for black rights, they got white wives and white husbands, or non-black partners, or they're lesbian with a white wife. So y'all pay attention. Money is money to be made on so-called black power. See, we had Black Panthers brothers like Fred Hampton, Huey, Eldridge, people like that fighting. And all they got from it was grief and jail time. These so-called black fighters now, they get 5-star hotels and limousines. They get their own talk shows with MSNBC. They get product deals. Now they're the ones who's supposed to be fighting the power for black folks. With all of that, they'll organize a damn good march and have some of the most wonderful speeches. I call them marketing campaigns. When you have those so-called very articulate speakers come out and they say that's right, and black people not have it, and white power structure and white supremacy. Next thing you know, they have a radio talk show, SM radio, satellite radio. or they have their podcast receiving corporate sponsorship with millions of dollars, all for talking about. But it's something about when you really go to the core of it, we don't make that money. So the Ahmaud Arbery case means a lot to me in so many ways. The whole experience. He's a guy who's obviously suffering from mental illness. And again, as I said earlier, black men aren't not allowed to have mental illness, or have a bad day, or be angry about or disappointed about something. We're not allowed to, it appears. Black boys are not allowed. Mary Mack says this is yet another verdict that will fall on those closed ears and eyes in Washington, D.C. The Dems ran on a platform of pushing George Floyd Accountability Act, but they're not going to have that. They're not going to do it. And I'm going to say this before I invite you all to call in, and I'm going to hear your thoughts on whatever you want to talk about, particularly, especially this Ahmaud Arbery case and the guilty verdict. What were your thoughts when you first heard it? How did you feel? What will you feel from this day forward? Again, I want to issue a challenge out to black men, heterosexual, masculine black men. When are we going to become a solidified group in this country to build a fence around us? Black women did it years ago, and they've gotten so many gains. It's for them. But black men, there's so many issues that's plaguing us: criminal justice, family court, mental health, mental illness. Employment. When are we going to get together and become a political pact group to have laws changed or laws pushed that benefit black boys and black men? Why does it appear that we seem to be afraid to come together as men? And when I say black men, I mean even the black fraternity brothers. I know y'all have a large number of folks. Y'all can be good at this. Black men, Christians, black Muslims, black Greek-led organization men, non-believer black men, conscious or hotep or pro-black black men. When are we going to come together and form a voting bloc and a political pact group in this country that will benefit black boys? Because those of you who are constantly voting Democrat, it's not helping. But you have a lot to say for the few black men, but at least the 17% who decide to vote non-Democrat. The Democratic Party is not helping. And I'm not saying going to the Republican Party or the Green Party. What I'm saying is we're supposed to be standing in the middle, and all those folks supposed to be literally kissing our ass, because we're supposed to have money set aside so we can put candidates in particular seats who are there strictly to fight for the progression and economic and educational progression of black boys and black men. Why does that seem like such a foreign concept? Why can't we get it together? Where are our local Million Man marches in every city across the country to let the world know we've had enough? It won't be another Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Garner. It won't ever be another John Crawford. It won't be that, because we need to learn how to participate in this country as Americans, as long as we're going to be here. As it relates to gun ownership, camping, going out in the woods, teaching young black boys how to do that. As far as job creation, community building, when are we going to come together as black men, heterosexual, masculine black men of all backgrounds? When are we going to become a political party of our own? We're not beholden to the Democrats. We're not beholden to Republicans. We're not beholden to Democrat, Green Party, what have you. When are we going to shake off the shackles of fear or arrogance or the need to be separate? When are we going to do this? And I did a radio show, and I posed this question on a radio show, my old Rico on the radio show, a few years back. I posed the question: Do black men believe that they're human beings? Do black men believe that they're human beings? Because sometimes I don't think black men believe that they're human beings. Because we allow so much stuff to happen to us. It's almost like child's play when it comes to black people. We allow other people, including women, to just drag our ass as if we're nothing. We allow the cops to kill the young brothers with political system. We allow them to just lock us up and say anything. We just, what is it? Why don't we have a value? Why don't we think black men and black boys are worth breathing? I don't expect anybody else to think like that about us. Well, how come we don't think that we are the shit? I mean, we say it on YouTube blogs and all this stuff, but politically, educationally, and economically, and ownership, we don't seem to think that we're the shit. Why not? Talk to me, black men. Why? And when is this going to stop? We should not be the majority of men in prisons. We should not be the majority of men in messing around in child support. We should not be the majority of men who are having the worst relationship with the police. We should not be some of the most men who are not at home with our children. And I know the statistics, black men are the most involved in their children's lives. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're at home with your children. You understand? I read the, hey, look, I read the stats all the time. I keep up with particular things, not everything, but certain things I keep up with when I deem them important as it relates to our community, and particularly black boys and black men. See, Dr. Jawanza Jufu is in his 60s or 70s right now. Minister Farrakhan is damn near 90. Or Dr. Umar Johnson is so busy being a clown, we can't hardly take him seriously. When he could really be a serious force, a voice for black men, but his ego, but he plays too much. 1 minute he's on it when he's talking about special education and how black boys are suspended mostly, and black children and especially black boys are, they push medication on them and suspended and put in special ed at the most out of any group. But then he gets on some foolishness. He wants to get into beefs. And I wish Dr. Umar Johnson would stay out of relationships. That's not his wheelhouse. If anyone can let him know, I said, Dr. Umar Johnson, please, man, stay out of relationships. Why are you beefing with Kevin Samuels? That relationships, black men and black women, is Kevin Samuels' expertise. Your expertise is letting us know and gathering us to talk about the protection and the progression of black boys. But you too busy around here calling yourself the Prince of Pan-African and Big Papa. No, just clown shit. And I'm telling you, it's conflicting, because on one end I said, that's right, get him, Dr. Umar, get him. The next thing you know, you sipping. You blaming black men for why black women wear blonde hair and weave and shit. You're pandering for pussy, and that bothers me. A lot of these dudes who can be such assets to black men and black boys, even to black women, but they're so busy trying to collect coochie coupons by throwing fellow black men under the bus, we can't get any work done. And you don't have to worry about black men loving black women. Hell, look at 80%, 92% of us are married to black women. Or 89% at least. The majority of us, more than majority of us, date black women. When we go to clubs, we're trying to talk to black women. So that's not even an issue whether or not we like them. And look at all these black babies that are born out of wedlock. Who do they think they came from? Black dudes. So Umar Johnson, leave that alone, bro. And everybody else, all these other cats that's pandering for Punani. Let it go. You think the women respect you, and then you doing all that talk, you can't even get your own personal life together when it comes to relationships. That's why I don't talk about it. I'm no expert in relationships, but I know how to speak on human behavior. I can speak on human behavior. And Umar could be such a great asset. I think his school would be awesome. But he was so busy dissing black men. That's why the hell he comes short on the money. If it's a school to empower black boys and black men, you should stick to it. And let us know how great black boys and black men are. Because if you don't have strong, masculine, heterosexual black men for the black community, there won't be it's not a community. Right now we're suffering because everybody's so busy kissing the girls' asses and kissing the women's asses. The men are just saying, well, fuck it, I'm gonna do me. And they're going off and doing other things. So if we're really serious about black boys growing up to be strong men, we have to get on code and teach our boys. Mentor them in a way. And the women have to become serious about who they choose to reproduce with. See, a lot of these cases, like Ahmaud and all these others, there was hardly a black male backlash or outlash or outcry. Yeah, they said some stuff on the news, but it wasn't. Black people should be afraid to kill black men, but they're not. Hell, even white women get to talk shit to black men, and they just record it and have back and forth. Nobody's afraid of black men. The only people afraid of black men are other black men, because we already know Carter G. Woodson talked about this. And then this book, this pamphlet called The Willie Lynch Letter taught us. Dr. Claude Anson teaches us about how it's almost like Stockholm Syndrome. We fall in love with the enemy, the torturer, the batterer, the abuser of us, and we turn all that anger and hatred we should have for them and turn it against our own. And that is what seems to have occurred when it comes to black male relationship with other black men. We're doing okay, but it could be, but we're falling off. When we see each other, we look at each other with such disdain. And we're not stepping up to, now I like to say stepping up, but when it comes to us, I'll use it to keep us, from harm. We're not stepping up for the protection of each other. And that bothers me. Now, we have all these black male groups, but we're not protecting each other. Oh, well, if you're not a part of my church, you're not a part of my fraternity. Well, brother, we got this bike rider association. We ain't a part of this. How about we all be a part of the black race? When is that going to kick in? You understand? We are 42 million individuals, but homosexuals about 1.5 million, and they running the whole goddamn show. They can get you canceled if you don't kiss homosexual ass. But they do that. We're not teaching and putting people in place, put black boys in place to determine our destiny as a group. And I guarantee you, once the men start grooming other men with that red pill knowledge, the women have no other choice but to fall in line if we still want them. But those that want black men should have a group that they can choose from. But first thing about it, we're gonna have to stop running away from each other. But that's another lie. Because this live here is about Ahmaud Arbery and black men, because this stuff is happening to us, and it's like we can get in a gang and we just make sure the other black dudes don't get away with that. He disrespect my hood and don't own nothing in that neighborhood, not even the house that they mammy renting. She's leasing, renting. It's my hood, but none one of the gang members ever picked up a broom. I'm telling you, it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest behavior. The weirdest thing. None of them have ever picked up a broom. Do you understand that? But I'd like to hear what you have to say. The link to get in here is in the chat, so click on it if you'd like to talk to me and share your thoughts on the Ahmaud Arbery case. And if you've been listening for a minute, maybe I threw some points out there that you Might want to pose some questions, or maybe you want to disagree with it. I want to hear what you have to say. That's anybody, but I'm talking to black men. Because it's time for us to start creating worthwhile nonprofits or organizations, or putting together programs that really reach the youth. And do me a favor, don't y'all knock each other over to create another goddamn football camp or another goddamn basketball camp. You know, let's try something else. Let's try something else. No. How about we do something that actually generates thought for black men up here, because we're always trying to work their chest, arms, thighs, calf muscles, but we don't like to work their mental muscle. Because running and jumping is not a problem for black boys. If y'all just look it out, go to the continent, and then let's talk about here in America when they did their football combat. I'm sorry, the slave auctions. And they tested their ability to push, pull, lift, and drag, and even reproduce. So they've already got that down packed. We need to create other avenues where black boys can flourish and develop, and it shouldn't always be through a vehicle of sports. I think when given a shot, black boys are capable of doing a whole lot of things other than playing football and basketball. Hell, how about a baseball camp if we're going to do sports? How about a soccer camp? Y'all never ever heard of Pele? You ever heard of Hank Aaron? Damn. Soccer, yeah. They make millions all over the world. Soccer, baseball, hockey. They make millions of dollars. And black dudes like to throw them elbows and get them hands up, spread it around. Create a hockey camp, a summer league, a hockey camp, or a winter league for black boys in our hoods, in our communities. Y'all can do it. I know a lot of you watch all these sports. You watch baseball. How come you haven't put together or learn so you can create these different camps? We have an overflow of football and basketball camps if we're going to go through sports. Again, golf. Where's the next Tiger Woods, but an actual black Tiger Woods? Tennis. Get these black boys into tennis, golf, hell, swimming, soccer. But also let's do some intellectual games. So see, this is where I come in with the mental health part. Because I can take what I do for a living and just create a nonprofit and offer that. But I don't want to go broke trying to help us like that. It's like they expect people like me to be poor. Man, you can get out there to help too, man, but how am I make a living? I've always wanted to make a living by giving. But damn, with black people, we don't even donate. We don't even donate. We have to go out and get grants from white people. We have to go out and get state dollars to help us give back to our own people. When black people don't have a problem when giving money to the Asians, the Arabs, the gay, the white, gay, and Italian and Jewish clothing designers, we don't have a problem giving them millions of dollars. But I can't get $100,000 to start a nonprofit, and all I like to do is offer what is called life skills. Probably create a reading program where people volunteer to teach young men how to properly read and write and comprehend, since we believe that the public school system is failing. Offer counseling, free counseling for our young men. And you know what? Something else. Because see, if I create a nonprofit, there will be no basketball court in my damn building. Chess. If you want to really usher in discipline and work the mental muscle of black boys, chess. After school, they can all come in and play chess with people who really know how to play chess. I don't know how to play chess, but I'm sure there's some people in our community who love chess with a passion and will be willing to come in to my building office in after school hours. Maybe kids get out of school, so from 3 to 7, something like that, 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, chess. And I have a room with nothing but beautiful chess boards. And they come in, they set their book bags down after they've done their homework. and just play chess. That's stuff like that helps a long way. And then, as it grows, introduce black boys to other things. Because it's a lot of stuff that black boys don't get introduced to because majority of them don't have fathers. But if you truly want to help to move the race forward, you teach them life skills. I would be up to teaching them how to have a conversation by using this. I'll bring up topics that matter to them. Counseling. I will offer anger resolution therapy because that's what I teach. Anger. I teach. I do counseling sessions, group counseling, group education. That goes under life skills. But I'm not offering no damn parenting because I'm not gonna be dealing with no teenage dad. That's another program. I'm with the dudes who have not done all that yet. Uh, this is the place where young men. We have a lot of young black boys who are not into gangs. They are not into criminal activity. They just don't have anywhere to go. We have to, but when they go somewhere, we have to make sure those boys are protected. That means we have to keep other boys who are criminals and little bastards away from them. And they probably come from messed up houses. I'll even offer what's called family counseling, where the mom or the dad come in and we can work out some things. Yeah, well, a lot of us have profession, a lot of us are smart, but we can't continue to be asked to do this stuff for free. Hell, I've always envisioned myself making a living through giving. And we have a lot of people out there, retired teachers, who can help with the reading and the writing. Because a lot of our boys, this due to the fact they don't have fathers, you know, the surrogate fathers kick in, like the gang member, the drug dealer, and the thug and gangster rapper, NBA player, who's not appropriate. Most of these black NBA players are not appropriate. Because every time I look around, they're getting an IG broad pregnant. Tattoos everywhere. Spending money on trash. Throwing all their money up in the strip club. See, stuff like that. And so NBA player, unless he's a business owner, he's cleaned himself up, then he can come in and speak to my boys. But just because he's a rapper or NBA player, no, he's not allowed. Unless he gives a sizable donation and he only have, and I'll tell him what he can talk to the kids about. Yeah, that's called being protective of the youth. So if there's anybody like to come in, I put the link in. It's pinned in the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Ahmaud Arbery verdict. Guilty across the board, and all of them look really sick. And when the verdict they were first read, I felt tears coming up, but I'm like, no, I didn't immediately go live because I didn't want, I just kind of because it wasn't just the fact that they were found guilty. It's just all those black men who've been just murdered because these particular people felt that they could, because they knew they wouldn't get any backlash. That's the problem I have, because it's funny. Whenever we say something about Jews and homosexual, black people's like, no, I don't want to touch them because we know something that happened to us if we disrespect Jews or homosexuals or white women. But no one feels any fear of repercussion or consequences when they beat or cheat or kill black people, specifically black boys and black men. Because we have this weird cognitive dissonance that we display, that we project on black boys. And granted, I'm here to tell you, it makes it hard. As I saw in the movie, black boys and black men, they make it difficult to love them with this behavior and the way they do things. And it makes it real hard. You have to take the ones who are salvageable and try to pour something into them. Because the machine is big. The machine is well funded, is well manned, and well stocked with people who are willing to carry out the machine's bidding. And you just have a few of us who are awakened enough to say, no, y'all can't have these. And there's funding in man hours to correct this thing that we call the hood mentality and wayward thinking around boys and a lot of our girls. But anyway, if you like to come in and chime in, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Ahmaud Arbery case and anything else that's related to that as it relates to black men and the safety and the progression of black men in this society. The link is in the Yard Stream link is in the chat. So go ahead and anybody go ahead and click on. I'd like to hear what you have to say. You don't have to be afraid. I don't bite. I know y'all probably heard some vicious rumors. Or you've gone by the way I conduct myself and other. Eric E. Will says, although I'm happy, it's sad when we have to celebrate the justices for doing the right thing for black men. Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, and it is, and so there's a conflict there for me as well, Eric. It's but Eric, I want us as black men. When are we going to finally um, speak about what we can do for ourselves? Because this stuff doesn't have to happen. It's America. Obviously, we're not moving out, so we might as well make it a place that where we can thrive. But we have to be in charge of that. We can't continue to think other people are going to look out for us or have our best interests at heart. As a matter of fact, it's not required, because there are enough black men we can maneuver our way into these systems. We have black men who are lawyers. We have black men who are judges. We have black men who are probation officers. We have black men who are bailiffs in these courts. We have black men who are all over child support, but we have black men who are politicians. But I don't know who these Negroes are, but they're certainly not helping. They're not doing what they were elected or they're appointed to do on behalf of black men and black boys. We don't have a political pact where we sit around and meet on how we can get particular ideas turned into bills that we can push to a politician, black, white, or whatever. Say, hey, this is what we want to push forward on behalf of the protection of black boys and black men. We don't have that group. And my question is, why don't we have a group that protects the interests and the lives of black boys? Why don't we have that? We can't expect the NAACP to be that group. We can't. We are a special group. Black men and black boys are. It's been said, it's been proven for decades, but we don't think we're special for some reason. We don't have to sit here and accept crumbs of a not guilty verdict every once in a while. We don't have to accept that. We're supposed to be forcing laws to be put in place. That's for us, because we're not going to unify on the reparations. So at least we can do as black men, if we can have what is called allies, like Jews and Asians and homosexuals do. They have allies who are not homosexual, who are not Asian, who are not white or Jewish, but they support them in numbers and with their money. Black men need to have and develop allies who will drop some money off, or make sure if someone says out of line about black men, they're there to take care of their business, to straighten that business up. You understand? And so, again, if there's anybody who'd like to hit that link, if there's anybody who'd like to hit that link, I'm open to it. It's a StreamYard link that's in the chat. I'll because I can be done here. I just want to get that off my mind. If y'all want to still talk, I'll give y'all a minute. Go ahead. Mary Max, is there anything you want to say before I get out of here? Okay. Well, I guess new comment. What was that? What was going to say? So I got a couple of people watching. Okay, cool. Let's see. Well, anyway, y'all just check out the playback. I appreciate those of you who came in, took your time out. I'll do another live later. We want to talk again. Maybe I'll do this again tonight. Yeah, I can probably do it again tonight, talk about other things, but um, this is just transition over to my YouTube channel. But I thank y'all so much, those of you who took time out to at least listen to what I have to say and enjoy the playback. We will definitely talk in the future. Congratulations to the Ahmaud Arbery's family. And again, black men, we're gonna have to build that fence around us. Nobody's coming to help us. Jesus Christ is not coming. He's already done what he's supposed to do. All the ancestors and scholars who died poor and probably died depressed trying to teach us about who we are as a community, black men and black women. Dr. Naeem Akbar, Dr. Jawanza Kunjuku, who's still with us. And I think Dr. Naeem Akbar is still with us. And there's many others who spoke up on behalf of black men and black boys. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, rest in peace. And again, Dr. Umar, come on, man, get it together. But we do have folks on YouTube who's speaking on our behalf. Speaking up for black boys. Thank goodness for the Black Manosphere, Obsidian, O'Shea Duke Jackson. We got our Graham fam, Dennis Sperling, attorney Dennis Sperling. We have Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. We have Dr. Ron Neal, many others who are speaking up on our behalf. And so we're glad that those brothers are here to speak for us. Hello, Mary Max, we're good.
Your link, the last link, I don't know what happened, but it's not working. So I don't know if somebody's trying to come in or not.
I don't know. It's maybe I should put it up there again. I don't know. I'm gonna try it again. So, what are your thoughts on it while I'm trying to put this link back up here?
Well, with the Ahmaud Arbery case, I'm happy for the family, because they did push against a whole lot, for them to actually get some convictions out of this, because it's not justice in a sense, because Ahmaud is gone.
Yes, sir.
It's not closure because Ahmaud is gone. He's still not with them. He still won't be there for any celebrations and what have you. But I guess it is some form of some token. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, I was happy that the family did get the guilty verdicts, and to note that each guilty verdict will carry a life sentence in Georgia. So that is a small comfort to them.
Mm-hmm.
However, Black men have to get out and stand for themselves, so this type of stuff won't continue to happen.
Yep.
To Black men.
Stop being such a tough ass to other Black men. Be a tough ass to the system that's actually kicking us in the ass.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing. We'll fight tooth and nail with each other, be it based on organizational divisiveness or gang shit. But we won't stand up against that white supremacist. I mean, the system itself. I mean, put yourself in place where you can be fighters, politically, economically. It's the weirdest thing.
Very much so. And if you look up the statistics or the number, because I don't even think they have any statistics, over the last, say, 4 or 5 years of how many police officers or white men in this position, and I say police officer simply because what is his name, McMichael father, he was
retired cop.
Yeah, retired cop. And McMichael Jr. worked for the Coast Guard, so they had some kin to law enforcement, and that's what gave them that privilege or that feeling that they could do that. And for a minute they had protection.
Yeah, and I hope the next trial is that damn DA who tried to cover for them.
Well, yeah, she's been charged. She's next. She's been charged and she's next. I don't know if they stripped her. I'm sure the Georgia Bar Association has stripped her of her rights to practice law, so she is next. You have a federal trial coming up for the hate crime statute. Excuse me, that they charged them with. You know, all three of them. So we don't know if they're actually going to plead out on that, because you know they tried to plead out in this trial.
Mm-hmm.
They tried that damnness. That one attorney tried his damnness to get the trial thrown out because he saw it not going their way.
Damn, well, at least he tried to earn his keep.
Yeah, he tried, but you know, with these people working in law enforcement, this is the privilege that needs to be challenged.
Yeah.
With quietly, they've convicted another police officer in Kansas City, Missouri, 4 days ago, for killing, I think it was Cameron Lamb. I don't know if you knew about that case.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, police officer, detective. He and his partner. Cameron was backing into his driveway, and a police officer went in the yard. And like you said, black people don't have to stop because white people give them a quote unquote command.
Yeah, we don't. We don't have to stop. Who the fuck they're supposed to be? But that's that old school mindset. Like, I don't care. Even in 2021, they still have. It's like it's in their DNA that they feel like they have the right, or they feel like they have dominion over everybody. Let's go.
Right.
And I said that word. It took me back to Byron D. Beckwith. Hold on one second, Mary Max. David Brown, what's up, man? Robert, Tino, Lucian. Yeah, I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts on this whole Ahmaud Arbery case. If y'all want to come in, hit the link is in the chat, the StreamYard. It should be 3 of them. 1 of them should work. I'd like to hear from some black men on this. But Mary Max, when I said Dominion, it made me think about Byron D. Beckwith when they were interviewing his old behind in Mississippi.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he told the reporter, I think it was some Channel 5 News there in Memphis. He said, "Did I tell you I won't no nigga report in my yard?" And then I guess he acquiesced and allowed to come up there. And when he told him, "Yeah, so do you think you owe black people an apology?" and something to that fact, he's like, God gave the white man dominion over the land and the animals and subdue the beasts. The niggas the beasts. See, they're beasts.
Yep.
I said, I love it. I love the truthful ones. It's these ones that smile in your face but got that knife already ready as soon as you turn around. And don't they call them Democrats and liberals? But anyway. But
they're called politicians.
Yeah, I just when I hear that, and some people listen, they're like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." I just saw something on Instagram when they interviewed these Caucasians about the civil rights movement, the bills and all that. And the white woman said, I think it's all right. Everyone has that freedom, I just hope it won't be no trouble. For the one with the white first one, she's like, and she said something that's very key. But we get so busy trying to call people racist and shut them down. We're not paying attention to what they're saying. She said, now everyone can, they just built up on the side of town they live on, and we can all be together. No, not be together, but said if they can just stick to their side of town and build up their side of town. I said, God damn. I said, white folks been telling you, look, go and do you forever.
Yep.
They've been doing it, but
by that same token, Rico, you got to realize they've been telling us to go do us, but they won't allow us to do us.
Well, I want us to prove it. Prove it.
Well, we've tried. Talking about Ahmaud Arbery was just running down the street doing him.
What I'm talking about is relates to building our own. That's what she was saying.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just using that as a minor example.
Yeah, it goes under we believe you're an American, under that. But I'm taking in the context of building your own, like your own school, your own jobs, your own.
Well, home. Okay, so here you got. Of course, we have the famous Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where they were doing for themselves, and you have so many other communities of color, communities of black folks. Let me get that of color out the way because I'm a community of black folks.
Yeah.
That were doing for themselves, and they didn't like that.
Okay.
So I mean that it's been proven.
But I mean, what's happened 50 years later? What stopped us from building again?
So moving on up to this time, there's a community in Atlanta that where they were black folks were building and buying all these nice houses, gated community. White folks wanted to move in.
Okay.
White folks weren't allowed to move in, so the white folks went and put salt in the game and told on the builders saying that they were doing some illegal financing there.
Right.
So of course the feds went after them.
Mm-hmm.
That all went belly up. So they have a history. It's innate. It's
Well,
inherent.
I get that, but still, that ain't supposed to stop us from building. In
Well,
2020,
no, it's not supposed to stop us, but it does. I understand what you're saying, but it's
keep
just that
building,
if you
prove it. And so I want to keep building. And I want them to keep tearing it down so somebody can finally get it. Black people, we have to get in. We have to build a fence and show and continue to show. Okay, every time I build and say it out loud in these songs and these radio programs and these TV movies, and stop pretending that this shit is going away or it's not as bad. I want because I'm looking around these inner cities. That's what I'm talking about. So they're scared they're gonna tear it down. They put some new house in there, but everybody else come in and build a house, and they don't seem to mind. I guess.
of course not. I heard on one of Quentin Tarantino's movies where the white boy said, the way that the white man thrives is on the fear of the black man. So when black folks are scared, white people are comfortable. And that's the way they like to
Yes.
keep us. And that's the way we don't mind by being.
Yeah. Well, no, don't go over there now. And then you don't go. And even and they're in Memphis. But it's the funniest thing. Even the criminals, the hardened South Memphis thugs and North Memphis thugs and Westwood thugs, they will not fool around in Bartlett or Germantown.
Not at all.
Not at all. I said that is, and it's almost like the movie Life. There's an invisible gun line, and those Negroes will not pass that. Even black folks who come from there, when they know they're in Bartlett and Germantown and Cordova, the further east Cordova, they tend to put on like that better behavior. Their Walmart that they gave so much hell to in Whitehaven, they wouldn't be giving it. Do they give the same hell like that in the Walmarts that's further out?
Not at all.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And that's what I bring it back to us. Like, look, we need to be re-educated, or we just need to say, hey, snap out of it. What are you doing? I mean, what's with the self-hatred? There is an issue, and it's mental. That's why I've been talking about that mental, that mindset, that hood and that slave mindset. Even in
Exactly.
2021, we still have it.
Yeah.
And
We
it's
are
not
walking, we are still walking the same footsteps of our ancestors, great grandparents. We're still walking those footsteps, but we're not as fearless
as
as
they
they
were.
were.
We got all this technology, all access to everything. And we we have access to everything. But I think the rhetoric discourages people. Stop telling folks that you can't do them and prove it. Prove that they can't do it. 'Cause a lot of stuff we have access to, folks is that they ain't gonna let you do that. I don't know what you go. They ain't gonna let you. And people say that these are not just hood black folks. These are folks with so-called educated blacks. Because I didn't get that far, we assume that the person come under me, they ain't gonna get that far now. I already tried it. You ain't gonna do it. It's the weirdest thing. So that Willie Lynch letter is a real document. I don't give a damn what nobody says.
Of course it is. I mean, to some people it may not have happened, but guess what? It's happening now.
Yeah. And we scared. I'm like, y'all got so many guns, but police don't even fear y'all. And I'm not saying attack police. I'm just saying they should be afraid to just do these arbitrary killings and ass whippings that they do. They should be afraid. Because black folks act like when police get off of work, they get in a spaceship and go to Pluto. Now their ass go to the next goddamn suburb from your hood. Now y'all can find the dude who stole some dope from you and shoot up his mama house and all that. But y'all don't know that the cops don't have no barricade around there. They live in the neighborhood. You know, and I'm not advocating, I'm just making observations. It's a mental fence. Like the Carter G. Woodson's original book had like this shackle around the head of the person on the cover. And that's what it is. So what key do you use to unlock that mental slavery? And so anyway,
That's gonna take a lot.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. If no one else wants to come on and hit that link, I appreciate you, Mary Max, for joining in, sharing your thoughts on this. Always valuable.
My pleasure.
And see if anybody else want to come in and share their thoughts before I shut it down. There's a link in the chat. If anybody like to come in, I just put a new one up there. Uh, if anybody like to get their chat on with me about the Ahmaud Arbery not guilty, I'm sorry, guilty verdict. I'd like to hear what you have to say on this topic. I'll give it a couple of minutes. If anybody want to come in and speak on it or share this live, by the way, share it. Dang. Share it. Let you know that your boy's on. If anybody, there are links in the chat. If you're just now coming on, there are links in the chat. I want to hear what you have to say. Okay. I'll wait a minute. First of all, let me go get a bottle of water and give y'all a chance to see the links in the chat. And then when I come back, hopefully somebody has clicked on. All right, because what are we, an hour and 16 minutes? Okay, hold on one second. I'll be right back. But click on the link if you'd like to share your thoughts on the recent guilty verdicts in the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Right back. I'll be right back. What's up? I'm back. Okay, so mouth got kind of dry there. Now, I wish I could. I can't chat on Facebook, far as like type in my comments, or respond to your comments on here. A little bit here. So, but anyway, thank y'all so much. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. I'll come back later and do this. Mary Max, be cool. Everybody else, we'll talk to y'all in the future. And I am out. Peace.